lectures, workshops, and roundtables, and an exhibition of the students' work during this whole week, and it's going on until tomorrow. To start with today, I will ask Mr. Camille Ammoun, who will start with his lecture, to come. Afterwards, we will have an award ceremony where we will distribute awards to the students who participated in the workshops during this week. We have 3 different awards that will be distributed. And of course, we will thank you all in due time. Camille?
Thank you, Fadlo. And I would first like to thank quickly Redesign and Michel Brady to have insisted to inviting me to this to give this lecture and the roundtable later in the afternoon. The program has changed a bit. I had planned to have a 45 minutes talk and we're going to shrink it to 30 minutes so we can have a little conversation after, and then we can start the prize. So you see the Murr Tower that I visited yesterday for the first time in my life, thanks to Redesign. It was a bit impressive to enter this building, and I'm going to talk about it, and 5 other buildings that I put in the same category of urban wrecks, and I'm going to explain why wrecks. First, this talk takes a qualitative approach rooted in psychogeography. The idea that urban space is not just a setting, but an active medium of memory, especially where formal institutions of remembrance are absent. Beirut, in that sense, is seen as a conflicted landscape where memory is both produced and erased at the same time. Psychogeography, in a few words, is a sensitive approach of urban space. Guy Debord, a French philosopher and situationist, coined the term in the 50s. For him, it should be the study of the precise laws and effect of geographical environment, consciously organized or not, so urban or natural, acting directly on the emotions and behavior of individuals. So it's how the urban environment changes our emotions and moods. It's a way of walking through the city to let its emotional and memorial resonance emerge. Using this method, I focus on 6 abandoned sites in Beirut. Through their mere presence, these wrecks reactivate the experience of the past and act as informal memory operators in a city without one national narrative. They allow different communities to build competing stories around a shared object, a national object, but with different narratives, sustaining a collective imagination that lives in Beirut, emotional and symbolic geography. In a city deprived of historical and collective memory, and I will define both later, the urban fabric itself becomes a medium of remembrance, conflict, or erasure. These wrecks, visible, tangible, stubborn, function as mnemonic anchors and as unofficial or de facto memorials. They challenge the dominant discourse of resilience, a word often used to neutralize conflict and depoliticize trauma, and instead reveal a society sinking under the weight of repeated shocks. 3 hypotheses guide this work. Just a little note, this work is part of an article, an academic article that will be published before the end of the year in the peer-reviewed academic journal of Université Saint-Joseph, la Faculté des Sciences Humaines. So 3 hypotheses guide this work. First, that resilience in Lebanon is not a virtue, it's a myth, often mobilized to mask paralysis or justify inaction. Second, the absence of resilience can be read in the city's voids and scars or its wrecks. And third hypothesis is that since August 4, 2020 and the explosion of the port of Beirut, many Beirutis have openly rejected the imposed narrative of resilience, seeing it now as a form of denial. By combining the sensible, the material, and the discursive, I propose to read these abandoned sites not as leftovers from the past, but as living agents of meaning, one that connect people to a shared unsettled memory. And I will oppose later historical memory, collective memory to unsettled memory. So, architects draw to anticipate. Planners project to stabilize. Preservationists freeze what they fear will vanish. But in Beirut, time refuses design. It resists containment. The city seems to exist in multiple temporalities at once. The modernist optimism of the 60s, the suspended and ever-re-emerging violence of war, the speculative euphoria and its destructive reconstruction, and the exhaustion of the present. Each era leaves behind not a monument, but a wreck that refuses to settle. Making of Beirut a city where lives simultaneously the no longer and the not yet. So Beirut is not a post-conflict city, a field now recognized in academia and humanities. It is, and has been, for the last 50 years, post-conflict and pre-conflict at the same time, always waiting for the war to come, whether internal or external, and the crisis to come. Waste crisis, financial crisis, etc. So my talk today explores what happens when design is overtaken by this unstable perception of time, when architecture becomes the medium through which time itself falters. And how Beirut's urban wrecks are not simply destroyed buildings or abandoned places, but devices that make forgetfulness visible, tangible, and concrete. I see Beirut as a brain city, one that remembers despite erasure, denial, and repression. So when I began working on this project, I started with six sites. I tried to find other sites as important as these, but failed to. So if you have ideas, I'm happy to include them in the list. That said, these 6 sites are huge national wrecks. And as a footnote, I would like to say that there are lots of neighborhood wrecks, street wrecks that have the same impact on people, but at a very local level. So each one is deeply inscribed in the collective imagination of Beirutis. And when I say collective imagination, it's not the collective history, it's different. They are so present that they have almost become invisible, and yet they continue to define how we inhabit the city, how we remember it, and how we imagine its future. So the first wreck is the Murr Tower. With its monolithic verticality, it embodies the violence of the militia system. Left unfinished, once used as a sniper post, it remains anchored in the paramilitary logic of the civil war years. Its hollow height dominates the skyline, a concrete wreck that stands as a de facto memorial to the militia Order of Fear, born in 1975 and still hovering over the city. The second wreck is the Holiday Inn. During the first days of the war, it became the epicenter of the infamous Battle of the Hotels, one of the seminal episodes of the conflict. This once symbol of bourgeois cosmopolitan Beirut was literally taken by storm. Its facade marks the collapse of a social order, of an idea of modernity itself. As a de facto memorial marking the end of Beirut's cosmopolitan era, we all know the stories of militiamen taking the lift onto the top floors while the hotel's consumers were still smoking cigarettes and the piano was still playing in the hall. The third wreck is the egg. Unlike the two others, it survived as an open structure, porous and strangely alive. Over time, it became a refuge for graffiti artists, musicians, and activists. During the 2019 protest, and this photo was taken at that time, for those who were there, you will recognize how we took a storm the egg. It turned into an improvised amphitheater of dissent. If the Murr Tower stands for surveillance and paralysis, the egg stands for creativity and knowledge. It carries the memory of a counter-hegemonic revolution, a place for free thought and democratic invention, where for a few months in 1919-1920, knowledge circulated. Scholars and experts would talk about separation of powers, the electricity crisis, the financial and monetary crisis, trauma in times of revolution, etc., etc. The fourth site is Dalieh, a rocky promontory at the edge of Rauche facing the Pigeon Rock. More than a building, this site is a landscape. For generations, Beiruti came here to swim, fish, picnic. It was the last stretch of wild coastline in the city, a fragile ecosystem at the meeting point of geology and urban conflict. Dalieh is another kind of wreck, not born of war, but of neoliberal greed, a site produced by speculation rather than shelling. Its forest of concrete dollars tells the story of privatization, dispossession, and the slow erasure of the commons. Yet, it also stands as one of the few victories of civil society against real estate capitalism, which is so destructive to the very idea of the urban. The fifth wreck is the ADL building. The headquarters of Électricité du Liban in Dalieh once embodied the promise of post-independence modernization, the belief that public infrastructure could serve the people. Today, it stands as a monument to dysfunction, a state building that no longer fulfills its purpose. It has become the architectural embodiment of corruption and clientelism, a daily reminder of deliberate shortages and the exhaustion of the social contract, a system where oligarchs have hollowed out the state so they can directly serve their captive constituencies. And finally, the port silos, which violently entered our collective imaginary at exactly 6:07 p.m. on August 4, 2020, when the largest non-nuclear explosion swept across the city. Half of the silo have now collapsed, while the other half remain standing. They are the last witness of an atrocity still awaiting justice. In them, all the crimes of the Lebanese political class seem to converge. They challenge the self-amnesty of 1991 by exposing the impunity of those who rule. To judge this crime would be to judge them all. For the blast condensed in one instant 50 years of unaccounted violence, dispossession, corruption, and failure to power. As for the kind of forgetting imposed through self-amnesty, the amnesty granted by a group of criminals for their own crimes, it is, without question, the crime itself, the ultimate crime, through the institutionalization of impunity. On August 3, 2025, this year, the port silo were added to the general inventory of historical monuments by the Ministry of Culture, Hassan Salami. A step that could only have been taken by a civil servant unconnected to the oligarchy born during the 1920s, 1975-1990 conflict. In summary, these 6 wrecks are not ruins. They are de facto memorials, each reflecting a different aspect of Beirut's unsettled memory. The militia order of fear, the unfulfilled modernism of it and its demise, the counter-hegemonic revolution, the exhaustion of the social contract, financial urbanism and speculative reconstruction, and the catastrophic implosion of the present. When we talk about the urban landscape of Beirut, we are not talking about architecture alone. We are talking about the way people carry these wrecks inside them as mental landmarks, as affective geographies. These 6 wrecks from the scaffolding of this lecture, they are the lens through which I will try to think about Beirut's relationship to memory and time. Because each of them, in its own way, embodies a form of unsettlement, the impossibility of ending a story, the refusal of closure. What kind of memory grows in a landscape that never stabilizes? To try to answer this question, I will begin by attempting to define what I mean by urban wreck. To describe Lebanon's situation since 2020, people first spoke of crisis in the singular, then crisis in plural. Laura Joy-Boulos speaks of chronic multi-crisis, while the word polycrisis has become part of the new global vocabulary. The term polycrisis refers to an entanglement of different shocks, political, economic, social, economic, ecological, cultural, that interact, amplify one another, and produce effects far more radical than the sum of their parts. George Cobb once described Lebanon's war as nested war, des guerres gigognes, wars within wars. Following his logic, we might now speak of nested crises, des crises gigognes. Sharif Majdalani, for his part, chose a more direct term, collapse, effondrement, to name the centennial wave that hits Lebanon in 2020. To this shifting lexicon, I would like to add another word, one with a specific resonance, wrecking, which historical meaning is the deliberate action of causing the destruction of a ship in order to steal its cargo. So rather than simply speaking of ruins when we talk about Beirut's troubled urban landscape, I prefer to think of these abandoned buildings and sites, battered by time and weather, as urban wrecks. Because a wreck is not just a remnant of a ruin. It is what remains after the disaster. Its heavy, inert presence, stranded in the middle of the city, is the physical trace of a collective sinking, neither restored nor demolished. An urban wreck escapes and fixed functions or assigned meaning. It drifts through time and through the collective imaginary of conflicting narratives of those who live around it. An urban wreck, then, is a fallen yet persistent architectural form, the residue of a political, social, economic, and symbolic collapse, or wrecking. It differs from a ruin which evokes the distant past and carries a romantic or historical aura. The wreck, by contrast, has not been absorbed into the official narrative. It resists both musealization and erasure. The wreck signals the failure of a national project. It exposes the absence of repair, the absence of official remembrance. As a raw mnemonic force, it often carries more power than any institutional monument. The few official memorials, such as the martyr's statue restored while preserving the scars of war, bullet hole, and the missing arm, Hope for Peace, the monumental sculpture by Franco-American artist Armand, erected in 1995 in front of the Ministry of Defense in Yerzé, or the Barakat building acquired in 2003 by the municipality of Beirut and transformed into Beit Beirut, a museum restored with its wartime traces deliberately left visible, all carry an explicit memorial intention. Yet, none of them resonates within Beirut's collective imaginary as powerfully as the urban wrecks scattered across the city, that are a form of anti-architecture, uninhabited, unappropriated, a negative use of space. So why insist on wreck? Because the term refuses the aesthetic distance that ruin allows. A ruin presupposes time, enough time for violence to be absorbed, for loss to sediment into beauty or the melancholy and nostalgia. A wreck, by contrast, is still drifting in the present. It is the raw residue of an unfinished event. It has not yet passed into the comfort of history. What we encounter here is not the romantic melancholy of decay, but the persistent anxiety of things left unresolved. If the ruin belongs to archaeology, the wreck belongs to psychology. From an urban perspective, a wreck is a paradox. It occupies valuable land, yet generates no value. It stands upright but resists use. It is, in that sense, a structure that organizes the city precisely through its dysfunction. It resists the narrative of resilience that so often follows catastrophe. From the perspective of urban theory, we might say that they are liminal objects in a state of in-betweenness, a condition that generates both anxiety and creativity. In conclusion, an urban wreck is an architectural remnant that survives both its use and its meaning, standing as a non-resolved negotiation. every word here matters. Survives its use, because the rec is no longer functional. Survives its meaning, because what it once represented has been stripped away. And unresolved negotiation, because it is never static. It continues to mediate between forces of erasure and forces of remembrance. In a city like Beirut, this negotiation is constant. Artists, writers, and ordinary citizens re-entered the rec, reimagined it, re-narrated. They transform dysfunction into meaning. They turn this structure into laboratories of imagination. That's what I will turn next to see how Lebanese artists over the past 3 decades have appropriated these 6 recs and turned them into objects of reflection, creation, and sometimes revolt. I know that the time has changed, so please interrupt me or tell me 5 minutes before when you need me to stop. Okay, so to illustrate how deeply these 6 sites are anchored in Beirut's collective imagination, we can look at a range of works by contemporary artists who have interpreted, reproduced, or reappropriated them. These artistic interventions, spanning photography, installation, performance, video, and sound or visual arts, contribute to shaping a shared imaginary for the city. They show how these urban recs continue to act upon Beirut simply through their presence at the intersection of the sensory, the political, and the memorial. So I will go quickly through a non-exhaustive list of art forms that reproduce these 6 recs, just to show how much Lebanese artists are reappropriating these 6 buildings. So, Monument for the Living by Marwan Rashmawi, which is now at the Tate, London. Ayman Zbalaki, Murr Tower. Mohamed Saad, Burj al-Murr. Again, Jad al-Khouli, Burj al-Murr. It was an installation that lasted a few days or weeks, if I remember well. Nasri Saïr's photography of Burj al-Murr, Amer, because of the literal translation of Murr into French later. Mazen Kerbej, and the movie of Rana Aid Panoptic, that part of it was shot around and inside Burj al-Murr. Interestingly, this is the 4 facades from the outside. It looks like it is an inside, but of course there are structures inside, so we cannot see the whole as we saw yesterday while visiting it. Marja, The Battle of the Hotels by Marissa Jalal, which she's an architect, composer, and writer, and she composed this album as a psychogeographic story of the battles of the hotels, where the building tell the stories of these first battles. So there's a song where the Holiday Inn speaks and tell the story, and Burj al-Murr answers and tell the story again. Mazen Kerbej, Holiday Inn. Mohamed Said again for the Holiday Inn. Number 10, so he's painting it again and again. Holiday Inn by Tom Young, and the same Holiday Inn by Mira Khalil. Now we move to the egg, the sculpture by Bassam Kyrillos, Mazen Kerbej's egg in Lettre à ma mère, Ayman Balbaki, Mohamed Said again, EDL, Mazen Kerbej, Lamia Ziadeh, and Yad Abu Hida. This is when we discovered that there was chicken that was raised in one of the floors of EDL. And they had electricity 24/7. EDL by Tom Young. I'm not sure this is EDL, but maybe architects who know where the building can confirm where, but I think it looks like the EDL building. This is Holiday Inn? Okay, I will move it up. And Dalieh, on the same wavelength. So this is Rana Haddad and Pascal Hashim. It was a very ephemeral installation where you had 2 washing machines to show money laundry and one on a fisherman boat and one on the Dolos. And this is Christian Zahl, angry of Dolos army. Then the silo, Joe Kasserwene. After his photo, he reinterpreted his photography in, I think it's acrylic, yes, and ink. Bassam Kyrillos, Tom Young, Ayman Balbaki, Nadim Karam, the gesture that created a polemic during the revolution, and his reinterpretation through 40 little watercolor, I think, drawings, where the gesture and the silo interact. So, the frequency and recurrence of such artistic interpretation reveal the central place these 6 sites hold in the Lebanese collective imagination. But the urban fabric of Beirut seems to operate under a different regime, one that refuses both as amnesia and resolution. So it's neither historical memory nor collective memory. It is, I call it, unsettled memory. So when we speak of memory in Beirut, we usually mean absence of archive, absence of truth commissions, absence of justice. We also speak about the dialectic between amnesia and the self-amnesty of a group of criminals of their own crimes. To understand this, I want to move briefly through the 3 layers of memory: historical, collective, and what I call unsettled memory. Beirut is a city scarred by half a century of urban political and military violence, wars, guerrillas, bombardments and shellings, repeated occupation by foreign army, explosions, kidnappings, political assassination, displacement, unfinished reconstruction, and the systematic destruction of its central neighborhood by those very same reconstruction companies and real estate developers that abide by the unforgiving rules of financial urbanism. A corruption system elevated to the level of governance, massive dispossessions, and among the most severe financial, monetary, and economic collapses in modern history, deliberately produced, leading to waves of shortages and impoverishment at unprecedented scale. Disaster follows disaster, without any real work of memory or healing ever being undertaken. These layering of tragedies, one eclipsing the other, both feed and neutralizes Beirut's imaginary of perpetual rebirth, the infamous phoenix. So when I talk about the fact that we have a collective imaginary in Beirut, it is this one, the imaginary of rebirth. I'm listing all the authors and trying to go back to the origins of the myth. It's difficult, but so many people talk about it that it's really part of something that everybody agrees on and every primordial group agrees on. But since the port explosion of August 4, 2020, in the depths of a spectacular collapse, the myth of the phoenix eternally rising from its ashes has appealed to Beiruti for what it truly is. Not a joyful rebirth after tragedy, but a repetition of the same fall, the same wound, the same pain. In this context, the relationship between forgetting, amnesia, and amnesty shed light on the tension that shaped the production of collective memory, a notion that in Beirut's case remains a problematic hypothesis. Want to interrupt me? Yes. No, we can stop here if you want. I mean, it's because that no, you don't want to stop here. Do you want to interact, to ask me a few questions at this stage? I was going to conclude on the concept of subsidence. That is a concept that I propose to counter the concept of resilience. Subsidence comes from geology and it's irreversible sinking of the ground. So for me, subsidence is when we live several dramas, several shocks, but we do not recuperate after each one, while resilience is a kind of rebirth or reconstruction. I'm just going to go through the conclusion so I can wrap up. In the absence of any coherent politics of memory, Beirut's urban setting has become the paradoxical carriers of an unsettled memory, neither historical nor collective, yet deeply anchored in the urban and mental landscape in Beirut. Adrift, both materially and symbolically, these wrecks act as tangible reminder of collective catastrophe. Visible to all, they form mnemonic traces inscribed in the city itself, a kind of cognitive device, a city brain that remembers. Yet, these stranded structures are not passive remnants. They have become active sites where artistic creation reanimates a collective imaginary. For decades, that imaginary was structured around a command to be resilient, an ideology that gradually turned into the opposite, resignation in the face of the crimes and dispossession perpetrated for half a century by a corrupt, clientelist and predatory political class. The Beirut port explosion marks a turning point, exposing the limits of Beirut's myth of resilience and opening the way for new narratives, among them the one I call resilience, subsidence. If resilience is often symbolized by the image of the reed that bends but not break, subsidence describes a reed that also bends, does not break either, but remains permanently tilted storm after storm. Not dead, still growing, but askew. While Beirut's wrecks offer a localized expression of this condition, the concept of subsidence speaks to a broader global dynamics, climate change, the erosion of biodiversity, the weakening of democratic institutions, the spread of disinformation, the museification and homogenization of city centers under real estate capitalism. Subsidence, in this sense, becomes a conceptual tool to think about the slow wear, the accumulated imbalances, and the pathological adaptation that define our world today. Thank you. I don't think we have time for questions. I'm happy to continue the conversation afterwards. Thank you very much. Sam, I have a question.
There's a new installation at Burj Al Murr. We did the 4 floors, the last 4 floors, for the first time in history yesterday.
True. And I took the photo and I was there at night and I saw it. It was really moving. And I wondered how you went up to.
We had cables over the 40 floors, but so they then decided
So from outside.
I did the last 4.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Camille, for this dense and intense intervention. I apologize because Camille started his presentation, his lecture, without any presentation. Okay, so Camille Ammoun is a Beirut-based writer and policy advisor, exploring cities, political economy, and climate change. Drawing on psychogeography, okay, his work investigates contemporary urban challenges through literature. His latest book, Subsidence, which he talked about, his conclusion was about subsidence, published by Beirut in 2023, redefines the concept of subsidence to encompass human and social phenomena. So thanks a lot. Just for everyone, at 3 in the afternoon there's a round table where Mr. Ammoun will be discussing with our other colleagues, Dr. Michael Kessler, Dr. Amos Bianchi, and it will be moderated by Ms. Camille Ammoun. So, thank you again. Michael, vous avez changé? Okay, sorry. Moderated by Michael Davey, Dr. Michael Davey also. Okay, thank you again, all of you, for being here. It's been, this week has been very intense at Alba and in Beirut in general with the We Design event. So I want to start by thanking Mr. Samuel Amin for being with us because he founded We Design, and we've been working together between Alba and We Design for 2 years now, but this year is really a great collaboration and event. And I want to extend my gratitude to Ms. Janine Ael. Janine is the director of the School of Decorative Arts at Alba. She is really the motor in this whole event. Of course, with the help of our other colleagues also, I want to thank a lot Michel Brady, Karine Andraus, Odile Riachi, and of course I will forget all the others because too many people have been working on this, and it has been collective action and with a great impact. I want also to thank our colleagues from the embassies, from the civil society, from the army, who have been with us also in interventions or in their support. I'd like to thank Mr. Pietro Enar from the Italian embassy for his support. I want to thank Colonel Harous for also very interesting intervention and presentation of the regiment he's directing in the Lebanese army, where we all think that the Lebanese army has one role, which is to carry weapons, and on the contrary, Colonel Harous showed us that there's not only, of course, the support of engineers in the back, but these engineers have also a concern for heritage and culture. So it's very interesting. So later on, we are going to award prizes to the students who have been participating in 3 different workshops. And we will come to that. But before, I want to leave the ground to my colleague Michel Brady, who will introduce the Earth Hub at Alma. Why the Earth Hub? Well, because, of course, we're all concerned by climatic change, all the global warming, and any reaction to this is, of course, necessary, and specifically in a school of design, in an academy of design, which is what we are doing here. We are all concerned by the questions of time and place, which have been a lot in the center of all our discussions this week. And even if place today is a little bit blurred as an idea because of the globalization of the world, still time is a question which has been discussed with Dr. Kessler, and place is something that we will keep on discussing anyway, be it a real place, imaginary place, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we live in this environment, and this environment means a lot to us as human beings. The planet will definitely be very well without us, but still, if we're here, we have to take care of the planet, we have to take care of the environment. And I will leave the floor to my colleague Michel, who will introduce the Earth Hub. Thank you, Michel.
Good morning, everyone. Open events like Alba Educational Hub times Redesign Beirut offer us, as members of an educational institution, the opportunity to recalibrate our vision and values, to rethink how we communicate them, and to reach out to individuals, organizations, and institutions who share similar convictions. In a country where chaos often blurs direction, the university can become not only a place of learning, but a compass of meaning and purpose. These gatherings remind us that education is not a closed system. It is a collective act of rethinking our role in shaping this compass. It is from this place of urgency that the Earth Hub was born last year. Conceived as a transdisciplinary platform, the Earth Hub explores the human-Earth relationship with sensitivity, curiosity, awareness, self-criticism, joy, and pro-action. Our approach unfolds through notions such as contextualization within circular economies, material cycles, resource futures, and bio and circular materials. Supported by tools and technologies placed at the service of these values. At the heart of this vision lies experimentation as a way of learning, positioning students at the center of discovery and empowering them to recognize their potential as creators and agents of change. The Earth Hub operates in close intra-school collaboration through curriculum guidance, and extends further through academic and professional partnership in transdisciplinary seminars and workshops, all under the attentive observation of the Research Center. It is a system of interconnection where learning, making, questioning, and transmitting converge. Out of the 5 carefully curated themes of this redesign edition, 2 resonate deeply with the Earth Hub's mission. Identity through materiality expands on our 2025 edition's focus on circular materials, while the future of our resources highlights the richness of our land and the powerful potential of both our inherited and contemporary knowledge. Together, they echo a belief we hold dearly, that knowledge of material culture forms the foundation of future design intelligence. Within this framework, our students embarked on a documentation journey, filming interviews that capture the collaboration between artisans and designers throughout this event. These documentaries act as a living bridge between academia and the professional world, repositioning artisanal know-how as fertile ground for material research and fabrication innovation. They affirm that our resources, cultural, material, and human, are rich, alive, and ready to be carried forward. It is with great pride that we share with you today selected excerpts from these students' documentaries, before we move on to the workshop award ceremony. You are warmly also invited to view the full version in the museum space as part of our students' exhibition. Thank you.
My name is Dalieh. I'm based in Beirut. I'm a furniture and home accessories designer. My work is really about taking traditional craft and elevating it and making it more contemporary. And the idea is to support the crafts of the region and give it new life.
بلشت في جو الفقر ومشيت في جو صرت كل شغلة بضعف أنا أشتغلها.
Once you open up that door for new idea, they also start offering new ideas to you. It becomes like a collaboration or a friendship based on the craft. It was so important to let people in so that we really appreciate our own craft.
المدام هذا كله ماركتري أكتريته بس كله مش مثل الشغل اللي بيشتغلوا كله مدام ندى شغلها تقيل مش حيلا شغل. هلا في القبل كانوا مثلا اللي بيشتغل بالمهنة هاي بيبقى أمه وولاده عم يشتغلوا معه. الوقت هيدا والجيل هيدا ما عم يتبع هالشيء، يبقى الواحد بيورثها لأولاده والهي. أنا لا طبعا.
But yeah, there is a risk that the craft will die.
ما بحب اشتغل شغلتي بسرعة، لأني بحب اشتغل شغلتي على أصول.
We feel like we're craft custodians and we're taking care of this craft so it doesn't die. For me, reviving the craft is respecting the craft.
يعني شغلتي إنه تطلع منيح.
Hello, my name is Adrian Miller. I'm the third generation of Miller Industries. It's a family business in the heavy clay roof tile and terracotta industry in Lebanon.
My name is Tamar Hadishian. I'm a Lebanese-born Armenian artist.
she worked hand in hand with the artisans. The Clinicians were the ones who started.
Glass blowing ما بنعمل ضلنا نفكر فيها عم يقولوا ما في شيء صح.
متوقع صراحة إني أنا أرجع أستلمه مش مكان مش مكانين أكيد ما تعرف بالدور عشان هيك بقول
You've seen just the trailers of these documentaries, which were produced by the students after participating in regular visits and workshops in those with the different designers and artisans. So, to go on with our ceremony, I would like to call Colonel Harous to join me, please. I would like to give Colonel Harous a token of appreciation for a constant collaboration with ALBA and the Lebanese Army. So we are partners. We will, of course, continue working in the future because we will be launching our new program in heritage conservation, and there's a lot we're working with the Lebanese Army on that. I would like also to ask Mr. Camille Ammoun to join me. So, as I said before, Camille is the founder with Mariana Wehbe of the event We Design Beirut, which is in its second edition this year. And we are really very happy and proud to see how the city is bubbling everywhere, and Alba at the same time with We Design. Okay, so moving on to the next and essential event of today is the award ceremony for the students who worked on workshops. What are these workshops? We had 3 workshops organized during this redesign. One was directed by Dr. Michael Kessler from IED, the International Institute of European Design, and there's one prize for one of the students who participated in this workshop, which will be a 2-week courses and seminars in Barcelona at the IED. Then also we have another workshop that was led by Camille Ammoun Award, who's one of our ALBA faculty. And this prize is sponsored by the alumni of ALBA. It's a grant for studies. And the third prize will be given for the Baolab, we call it the Baolab prize, because there's also a third workshop with Ms. Manuela Bonaiti and Mr. Guido Massotti, who have been leading that. Actually, we don't have the results because for this third workshop, the results will be out tonight. And the prize is also granted by the alumni of ALBA. So thank you to Mr. Fawzi Nasser and Mr. George Saad who are here with us today. Fawzi is the president of the alumni, George is the secretary general, and they are constantly supporting the ALBA students by their different activities and supporting through grants for continuous studies. Thank you. We will see just two very small trailers to explain a little bit about those two workshops.
I would like to call Camille Ammoun Award Ceremony, please. Hello, Camille. The first workshop was with Camille Ammoun. Camille is a space, furniture, and product designer working across hospitality, commercial, scenography, and residential projects. She has also participated in exhibitions that showcase her design approach and explorations. For over 20 years, she has taught industrial design, interior design, and scenography at the Lebanese Academy of Fine Arts. Beyond technical expertise, she emphasizes a collaborative pedagogy rooted in design history and attentive mentoring of her students. Thank you, Karine, and thank you, Gilles. So I'm going to leave the floor to Karine to explain the workshop and announce and announce the winner.
In fact, we don't really need to. It's written, hello. Hello. So I call Andrew. You're the winner of the workshop. In fact, we worked, Gilles and I, around this workshop because we had to, in fact, improvise in a way. In the morning, we had some students from Lycée Montaigne that came like very. In a very, we dispatched way, so we had to improvise a workshop for them. They are in class of terminal. They don't know what design means, so we had to we did like an inventory of objects of design since 1920 maybe, and then we worked on. We explained. We had to place those objects in a kind of grid that related to past, present, childhood. And then it was about a category of objects, so they had fun, and then they had to weave around in relation to their emotions. So in the afternoon, we had some students from ALBA and from other than ALBA too, and we worked around with another approach with Gilles Cherwins, he's an architect, and the approach was really fun for them because we recreated a kind of scenography un peu surrealist around those objects, and we made them fly time, and we made them fly time not around future, but around future, present, past, so it was really fun for them, and we worked around some AI interfaces, and this was really nice for them because they had to prompt and write, and they wrote around things around time mostly, and what time means for them, and we even took what the lycéen wrote in the morning, so it was really fun, and we had really nice results about nomadic wearable objects.
crossroads of art, design, anthropology, and sociology. In recent years, he has been developing critical theory and practice around the notion of alterity and situating ethnographic techniques in creative practices through writing, teaching, and curatorial work, including curating the National Pavilion of San Marino and the other session at the Venice Biennale. His most recent books, Social Matter, Social Design, and the Auto-Ethnographic Turn in Design, delve into questions about critical creative research and action. He is currently a research fellow at the Osmos Network, the scientific director of the Offing Foundation, and co-head of the Masters of Social Ecological Design at the European Institute of Design, and lecturer in social design at the Design Academy Eindhoven. Michael holds a PhD in architecture and engineering in human settlements and MA in Slavonic studies. He is based in the Italian countryside where he tries and largely fails at various agricultural projects. That's you.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Fado, Michelle, and also I want to point out that this was not me alone. I also had wonderful help from, let's see, we had Riwa, Fadi, Jihan, and Mia. I'm not sure if they're all here, and then later Dina, excuse me, helped out. So it was a great pleasure to explore very complex notions of time with about 24 students in a workshop that we called Past Forward. What does that mean? We explored 10,000 years into the future by way of the past. We counterfactually redesigned the past via the present. And so we engage with these kind of temporal gymnastics through design and creative thinking in a kind of weirdly wonderful series of exercises that culminated in a design brief that was tasking students to thicken time. To thicken time through bringing different notions of time together, to bring the kairos and the chronos into our current atomized notion of time. We agonized over the decision. It's really brutal to not be able to offer an award to every group, as we were genuinely impressed with everyone. And moreover, we only have one scholarship and we worked in groups. So I would like to select the winning group now, which worked on a type of light. It is a lamp or a object of light, let's call it, that makes the day more dayish, the night more nightish. It brings us back into time through light, a product that allows us to truly experience time and not simply skim through it or over it. So the winning group is excuse my pronunciation here, Lucy, Murr, Krista, and Maya. But of course, we only have this is like the most brutal thing to do, as we only have one scholarship, so we designed with the faculty a complex algorithm to decide, based on the moon and science and various forms of reason, which of these gets to win the scholarship. And I want to congratulate, even though the award should go equally to all, to Maya Buhana. So I think Maya is
lab with us. Thank you to the Italian Embassy and Mr. Pietro Enar for allowing and sponsoring the stay in Lebanon. So the workshop is happening actually today, and it's going very well. We have a lecture and a workshop, and I'm going to ask Manuela and Guido to come and explain a bit what they are doing. The prize is also a scholarship from the Amicale des Anciens de l'Alba. So thank you, Mr. Fauzi Nasser and all the Amicale for all your continuous support. The result of this one will be announced tomorrow, I'm sorry, because we still need to have a lot of work and the deliberation will be tonight. So if you are curious and want to know, you can come back tomorrow and see it for yourself. Thank you. So please, Manuela and Guido, welcome.
So, thanks a lot for being here and for letting us being here. We are working on, because we have to start the work really right now, and we work on sensoriality and meta product, creating a kind of simulacrum of what we will think we would like to expire in 10 years. So it's moving forward in terms of desires and in terms of what we would like to perceive from our side and to make the other perceive through a kind of an object that is called a meta object, because we cannot produce something real. So, I don't know, we start to work in a few minutes, I'd rather say, because we have no time. So we will see tomorrow how it's going. So thank you very much again to everybody for hosting us here such in a great way and so gentle and with such a lots of love around. Thank you very much.
I just wanted also to introduce Manuela and Guido. So Manuela is an architect. She lives and works in Milan as a consultant in industrial design. Manuela focuses her continuous research on sensorial projects, meta-projectual strategies, as well as design of colors and materials. After collaborating with Castelli Design Studio on CMF projects and industrial products identity, she joined Total Tool to follow and develop several scenarios in strategic design for international clients. In 2007, in partnership with Emma Clerici, sorry if I have the wrong accents, she founded Baolab, a CMF design studio specializing in the research of innovative materials, advanced processes, color and trend forecasting, and strategic design. With Baolab, she participated in NCS International Board for Trend Forecasting. She has kept teaching courses at different institutions, at Politecnico di Milano, Visual Communication, at IET Concept Lab, Color, Material and Finishing, at SPD in Transportation Design, and at Instituto Marangoni at Interior Design. She is currently teaching a master course in Sensorial Surface Design at Politecnico di Milano. Guido Mazzotti, after graduating in Materials Engineering and Nanotechnology at the Polytechnic University of Milan, he worked for 3 years in a nanotechnology company specialized in textile application with functional purpose. Later, he became a freelance consultant, collaborating with Emma Clerici and Manuela Bonanti at Baolab on CMF research and material innovation, while continuing his research activity in nanotechnology, where he patented a nanoparticle-based tracking system for the product industry. Motivated by his interest in exploring the intersection between materials and design, Guido then shifted his focus towards experimenting and applying innovative materials to everyday products in fashion, transportation, and consumer goods. Since January 2025, he is partner at Baolab, where he follows advanced material research, material scouting and experimentation, and innovation projects for international clients. He has taught materials and processes for 2 years at Instituto Marangoni. We also want to thank Amos Bianchi, Director of SPT, for coming here. Thank you for present. One last announcement. announcement before we can all go down and enjoy a small buffet and interact with each other. Dr. Amos Bianchi's lecture has been postponed to 2:15, and it will be followed up by a roundtable just right after. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave the last word to Fadlu.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, before moving to the buffet, one last joyful event. Colonel Harous, please.
Yeah. Hello.
Sameh, again.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank Alba University, thank Italian Embassy, and I want to thank We Design Beirut for this event, big event, saving all the good thing of Beirut for our memory, for our identity, and for our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Let's now take a break. At the ground floor, we have a small cocktail, let's say, a very simple cocktail. So you're all invited to join at the ground floor, please. Thank you.